in our lodge is that it's derived from our culture hero, Waynabuju, who Waynabuju. He's also referred to as Nanabush or Nanabuju or Minabuju.
Yeah.
And so when we're saying Buju, we're actually asking, are you Waynabuju? Because he is a trickster and he can show up at any time in any form, and he does often show up to teach us lessons about ourselves. So when we're greeting each other, we're saying, are you Waynabuju? We say Buju, and that's where it comes from.
Wow, so it's an interrogation a little bit. I like it. I like that. The buju. Okay.
Buju nindoi magani do kinetana gamakoin indigenicas magizi nindo dem nagajuanum nindon jaba minoma indanoki medekoi indao. My English name is Liz Jacala, and I'm from Fond du Lac Reservation. I'm Eagle Clan. I am Medewin.
I'm Sheila Lamb. I am Wolf Clan. I'm 57-year-old grandmother and great-grandmother living in Cloquet, Minnesota. And my family is White Earth and Eastern Cherokee.
Deborah Nagachi Wanang, Fond du Lac, born, raised, lived here, hopefully die here.
Yeah.
I'm grandma age.
Grandma age, okay.
Buju, Terran Indigenica, Jaganashimung, Nainaba Gijiko Kwe Indigo, Awasasi Nindudam, Nagachi Wanang Nindunjaba. My name is Tara in English. My spirit name is Nainaba Gijiko Kwe, which means Standing Sky Woman. I am from the Bullhead Clan, and I'm from Fond du Lac.
Cool.
And I'm 47.
Cool. And
I'm 49, sorry.
Tasia Martineau, Fond du Lac. I was born and raised on the reservation. This is Ani McKee. This is Autumn, but her Indian name means running water.
Running water, okay. Well, theme of the day, kind of.
In that term Anishinaabe, that basically says the people, so even though we use it in a politicized arena, it just means the people. And so Anishinaabe, the gifts that were left for Anishinaabe, include rice, include the water, include the berries, all of these things that sustain us. And here, particularly at, the mouth of the Great Lakes, this was, considered to be kind of like, I've heard people refer to it as like an Eden, a Mecca, paradise, where everything was here for us. This is where we consider to be, our homeland, and we have been for millennia taking care of this place in the way that we know how to do so, and then to be interrupted by municipalities or statehood or any of that kind of thing, which is in the recent history, and to not have a voice at those tables it was almost unbelievable at first. But of course now it's been happening for about 100 years, so it's okay, they're not going to listen to us, so how do we assert our presence in their process?
Well, for me, it's right in my backyard, and it's not just line 3, they're also going to be doing line 4. And so that means even more workers.
I moved to this place in 2011 because I got custody of my 3 grandkids. I did not know anything about the pipeline when I moved here. And then one day I came home from Florida and my whole front yard was full of heavy equipment. And I was like, what the hell? There was a machine that was running 24/7 for 2 weeks.
Right.
And you could see the black smoke coming in. And the girls are like, Grandma, look it's got black smoke. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And then it was all night long. Right out my front window.
It's a whole new pipeline going through a whole new route. And for us, what that means is even more of our medicines are going to be gone. Right there in the pipeline corridor, there's a lot of red willow. About 2 years ago, I was gathering it with one of my elders. And I was a little ways ahead of her when I heard her screaming. And when I ran back, she had sores all over her arms. And what that was these invasive species that come in on the pipeline and on the workers and their trucks. It was a form of wild parsnip, and it actually causes sores. and it's wiping out some of the red willow that we've got there. And we see the cedar near where we found the parsnip. A lot of the cedar trees are dying too. Well, not only medicine, but there's food in that area. I used to lay traps there, I used to snare rabbit there, and the rabbits have these sores on them. Our animals are getting sick. The deer can't ingest this parsnip, it makes them sick. And nowadays you get a deer on Fond du Lac, you have to get it tested because you don't know if that meat is sick. And for me, that's a big deal because I have 3 young daughters and a new son, and that's how I provide for my family. I hunt, gather, and fish all year round.
If you're putting our wild rice in danger, you're not only putting a sacred food in danger, but you're putting medicines such as bitterroot at risk. We have swamp tea, which is a natural antibiotic and that type of thing. That's going to be affected. Our cedar trees are going to be affected.
So last year, there was no wild rice. We had to actually, Fond du Lac had to actually purchase wild rice from White Earth.
Yeah, that's part of our migration story as well, that we were told, that we would find our home when we reach the place where the food grows on the water, and that's wild rice. And it is crucial for the survival of our culture that we are able to have wild rice. Our cultural identity, our legal identity hinges on our ability to survive here in this place.
The lake that I would go to as a child and my parents would rice there, there's no rice sulfide in the lake. It hasn't had rice in it for over 10 years. I think it's a mining thing.
Everything we need, is provided for us by nature. We just have to reconnect to that. And that's really hard to do because nowadays there's so many white trucks on my land, I can't hunt. That's being in open opposition of Line 3, that's all they would need. All they need is me 500 feet near one of these pipelines with a weapon. And that's it, and it scares me. I'm an Indigenous woman. That means, for me, there's a target on my back. I'm at higher risk. And that scares me. The amount of activists who have gone missing and been murdered is there's not even a number for it.
You have to look at the business model. So what happens with things like Line 3 or any major construction venue, we see this with sports as well, like the Super Bowl, is there's this business model, predominantly male, higher paying jobs, transient workers. For me, with 2 teenage daughters at home still, this is absolutely terrifying. My girls now know they can't walk a few blocks to the library alone anymore.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid because growing up, you're taught 1 in 3. I have 3 young, beautiful Indigenous daughters. That means by the age of 15, statistically, one of them could be raped. One of them could go missing. One of them could be murdered.
These Oklahoma trucks, North Dakota trucks, Texas trucks.
This pipeline coming in, it's going to increase that risk that we face by 22%. That means 1 out of 3, that goes up. And I can't allow that because I have 3 daughters. So I chose to physically get out there and do something about it to somehow lower those statistics, to somehow protect the children of the tribe.
Enbridge and these other pipeline companies, mining companies and so forth will try to tell you, oh, most of these guys come with their wives, they come with their family, but they're not all the same way. And they don't have the ties to the community where they're worried about somebody recognizing them or they're worried about their friends and family finding out, because that's not the situation here.
I spoke to this on Lakes with someone who works for Enbridge. His name's Patrick. And he had the audacity to offer me a job. He had the audacity to ask me to train these man camps not to attack Indigenous women. You can sit there and you can spill your guts to this person. If this person's a predator, it doesn't matter what I'm saying. I'm a big piece of meat right there. And ever since I've gotten more open in my opposition, ever since I've put myself out there, that target on my back has gotten bigger, and for a while that really scared me. There was a point in time where my house was broken into and they drug oil from my front yard all the way to my back door through my house.
The 3 grandkids that I raised, their
Yeah.
mom passed away at 30 years old. And so that was very traumatizing for them. We were coming home one day and all the protesters were out front and there was squads up and down 210 and my kids were like, God, Grandma, what's going on? It was really scary.
Yeah.
I know what they're doing and I'm okay with that, but we don't know all of them and and then that just like it's getting my mind prepared for when all the workers are out here.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do with my 3 little girls?
When you look at the problem of sex trafficking, millions and millions of children are sex trafficked a year. 1% are recovered, and the average lifespan for those that are not is 7 years. It's just a huge problem. And the frightening part is when we're approximately 2% of the national population here in the States, and yet we are among the highest trafficked group. It's terrifying.
We're in a group that searches and patrols for missing, murdered Indigenous women and relatives. We're willing to search for anyone, That's our calling. That's what we do. And we're going to keep doing that. And we have to because with this pipeline coming in, that's the reality. Like when my kids see those white trucks drive past, they're scared. They're scared because they know what that means. And I have to teach them that so that they can keep themselves safe. They need to be aware of the dangers they face. And that's a hard conversation to have with children.
The whole country has been under destruction since a long time ago. We're just getting to the end. So might as well put my energy where it matters, with the kids. Yeah, I don't have energy to be a protester. I'm just a person trying to survive. Like most minority people.
We have prophecies within our teachings that tell of this. We're in a time right now of great mourning. We're in the 7th fire. The 8th fire, that's what we were taught on Fond du Lac. We weren't just taught the 7th fire prophecy. And the 8th fire is, once the 7th fire has been lit, there's going to be an 8th fire. That's going to belong to people like Ani McKee. That's going to belong to people who aren't just of one tribe, And in order for that to happen, civilization as we know it, there's going to be these great fires, We already see that happening. And it's heartbreaking, but sometimes that's what has to happen. And I don't know if it's a literal fire. I really hope not. I personally believe that it's figurative and that we have to burn away our way of thinking. I want to be essential to starting that fire.